What's up, everybody? Today's video is English versus German football, the differences. My name is Greg. I'm an American living abroad in Spain, learning the beautiful game of football one reaction at a time with your help. Today's video is brought to you by Rise Football Paradise. I will include a link in the description so you can go over and show him some love. This is interesting. I've kind of heard some of the differences between English and German football, but this is a recommendation that I'm going to do here. This is from Marcel. So I figured, hey, why not? Might as well check it out, see what's all about. Before we get started here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video so you can be a part of my football brain trust. All right, here we go.
This video was sponsored by Surfshark. Over the past year, me, an Englishman, has visited Germany every few weeks, experiencing the highs and lows of Deutschen Fußball.
Although it hurts right now, it's all been worth it.
On this YouTube channel, we've seen
Although
it hurts right now.
Me, an Englishman, has visited Germany every few weeks, experiencing the highs and lows of Deutschen Fußball.
Okay, I'm sorry. He said foosball. What? Obviously, he knows what he's saying, but I've never heard that. So what is that?
Every few weeks, experiencing the highs and lows of Deutschen Fußball.
Although it hurts right now, it's all been worth it.
On this YouTube channel, we've seen Bundesliga games, Zweite Bundesliga games, Third Division games, Regionalliga games, and experienced the German equivalent of non-league football. Ran it wide. What a ball. Oh, referee! So in this video, with your help in the comments section below, let's discuss what's good, bad, better or worse when comparing German football with our leagues here in England.
Uh-oh, this is going to be good. I want the same thing to happen in the comments on this video because I'm curious to know. I mean, I have an idea what the differences are, but I'm just curious to know your take. I mean, yeah, what do you think?
So in this video, I want to do more than the obvious. We're obviously going to mention the atmospheres and how Premier League atmospheres suffered, and in general, German atmosphere is better. But that's not the case as you go lower down the leagues. Let's not make this Bundesliga versus Premier League. Let's cover all.
Oh, well, he just messed up the whole video. Not kidding. I'm just kidding. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Exactly. It's just the atmosphere. So this is going to be interesting. Maybe there's something more.
Down the leagues. Let's not make this Bundesliga versus Premier League. Let's cover all tiers of English and German football. Obviously, we've got the obvious benefits of drinking beer, watching top flight football in Germany. Let's discuss the obvious things, but again, let's go deeper. And again, you guys get involved with your suggestions in the comments because I did ask you on Instagram. And let's head out there in the sun and enjoy some of this beautiful weather at the moment. And as we head outside, let's see what you guys are saying. What's better in England and what's better in Germany?
The UK chants are more creative, fun, but in Germany, the support is stronger in the whole game. We are lucky in Bochum, but what I love about English stadiums is that they are in the heart of the cities or their communities, at least those that I have seen. So Stamford Bridge, Newcastle, Sunderland is a little off, but still close to their supporters' home. And the media coverage. Roundtables with pundits are great. You don't really have them in Germany apart from Doppelpass. Went too slow. Love the atmosphere in German stadiums, but I like the play-wise in the Premier League. There's one thing that I would like to know in your Bochum videos are often women on the stands, and if I see such British content, I see less women. Is that true or wrong impression I have? Like more women in German stadiums than in England. Interesting. Is that true?
A lot of us Brits might have different tastes than our German friends when it comes to football. We do like our home comforts. Now, if you are heading to Germany but don't want to miss out on everything going on back home, do not fear, Surfshark VPN are here. Why do we have to choose between Germany and the United Kingdom? With Surfshark, just connect to one of their thousands of servers around the world, so your internet thinks you're in a different location. Although technically I'm outside the beautiful home of Cheltenham Town Football Club, I don't have to endure the sometimes substandard entertainment here at Whaddon Road. With Surfshark VPN, even right here in Cheltenham, I've got quality entertainment from around the world on my doorstep. Unfortunately, this year's season is over for us lot, but if I'm missing a little slice of Germany, kein Problem, because all I need to do, thanks to Surfshark, is change my location to Germany and enjoy content exclusive to Deutschland. On the other hand, if you're the main man who's just won the Bundesliga, Mr. Harry Kane, you're in Munich and you're feeling a bit homesick, Harry, change your location settings to the United.
By the way, I always like to play these for him allowing me to react to this video. So if you want to support his advertisement here, there will be a link in the description, as I mentioned earlier. Go on and head over there and do that.
Kingdom. We're often at risk from bots and the big businesses. But do not fear, with Surfshark VPN, it keeps your identity safe. So head over to surfshark.com/football paradise. Make sure you do enter the code football paradise for an extra 4 months free. And thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Okay then guys, so not in a weird way, but it is one of the first things I noticed also. You might have seen that comment. There seems to be more females or a more diverse range of people attending German football games than in England.
For Arbeit ganz go.
But that is something I've noticed, not just...
Yeah, that is interesting, because I have heard people say that, like, I mean, kind of like leave the women and children at home, kind of, with the ultras. I don't know. That's I could be completely wrong, and I'm fine with that. You can let me know. But that's just kind of what I thought I remember hearing.
Go.
But that is something I've noticed, not just at the Ruhrstadion, but with all German football games. There seems to be, in general, a lot more women. Blokes will bring their partner, bring their wife, whereas in England they tend to leave them at home. And again, I don't mean to be sexist, this is their decision. They would much prefer in England to not go to the football. In general, I'm making a general assumption. Now, I think the benefit of going with your partner, with your family, is that it becomes an all-day event. You're not in a rush. You see a stampede of middle-aged men storming through the stands to get home to keep their wife, their missus, sweet. That doesn't happen in Germany. Final whistle goes and people don't...
I mean, I think it's cool. I've been married a long time. So I think it'd be cool to be able to take my wife with me. I know she would like to go. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's no rule that said you can't bring them, but it would be nice if she was welcome there. So
don't tend to leave the stadium quite as early as they do in England. Now, again, that's another difference, hanging around at the end, creating an all-day event, an all-day occasion despite the result. I do feel like, especially if our clubs are losing here in England, we're quick to get out of there. We don't want to endure defeat, and that's natural as a football fan. You might have seen those Manchester United fans in the Europa League who all left when they thought it was over against Lyon. They're all cheering outside Old Trafford when that late winner went in by Harry Maguire. That wouldn't happen in Germany. Most of the fans would still be there in the stadium.
Okay, so I was born in Los Angeles, so I'm an LA sports fan. So Dodgers, Lakers. When I was there, the Raiders were there. So Raiders, USC football, UCLA basketball. Like I like all in LA, they are notorious for showing up late and leaving early. And we better not be losing, because they will leave like almost at halftime if they're losing by too much. So I definitely know exactly what he's saying here.
Behind the team. In terms of, let's just get the atmosphere out the way. We know the atmospheres are different. We know, of course, Germany have the ultras, the culture is a lot different. And we know in the top divisions, the atmosphere is generally louder in Germany, but it is more of a choreographed atmosphere. Again, I agree when people say German football atmosphere is better than English football atmosphere, but I'm quick to defend English atmosphere lower down the divisions.
So he said Germany has the ultras. So are there no ultras in England? I didn't know that. Is that true?
Lower down the divisions. For me, the atmosphere is better in Germany. Bundesliga is better than Premier League in terms of atmosphere. Zweite Bundesliga is better than Championship in terms of atmosphere. Around EFL League One, which is our third division, versus the Dritte Liga in Germany, that's where I think we get a little bit closer in terms of atmospheres. But obviously last season when we had Dresden and a lot of clubs, really good clubs in Germany's third division, I think Germany still had the edge. Now that Dresden have been promoted, maybe the Dritte Liga will suffer as a result. Maybe we might have the edge, but definitely from the fourth tier, which we have League Two, which is our fourth tier. But in Germany, from the fourth tier downwards, it becomes regional leagues broken up. So it is very difficult to make a direct comparison, but I have been to lower league.
Man, I just love some of these stadiums.
So it's very difficult to make a direct.
Look at that. Like that would just be, that looks so, I don't even know where this is, but that is just so cool. You're in the forest. That's awesome.
Comparison,
Look at
but I have been to lower league German games, the equivalent of our non-league. And can I just clarify that people say this isn't non-league, it's still league football, just not professional. That is what we class as non-league here in England. Everything below the fourth division here in Britain is classed as non-league, non-professional football. Not everyone has stopped watching Premier League football and moved over to a different country like me. A lot of people have traded Premier League football for lower/non-league football. And as a result, the scene here in England is really thriving. Attendances are higher than ever. So again, if you are a ground hopper, and maybe you're German and you do want to experience some English culture, English atmosphere, go lower down the division.
That's interesting. So is he saying, I think what I hear him saying is that I think there's a lot of people that are not as enamored with the Premier League, if I'm hearing this correctly, because of the money that's involved in it, something like that. So is he saying that what people are doing is that's become like a turnoff, so they're going to the lower leagues? I think that's what he's saying.
And you do want to experience some English culture, English atmosphere, go lower down the divisions. We'll focus more on that next season as well, because it really will shock you. We do, believe it or not, still have good atmosphere. And as I was saying, the atmosphere is different. It's more reactive. We're quite creative in our chants. We do take the piss, the banter, which is more of an English or British thing, should I say. But in Germany, it's a lot more choreographed. And that's not always a bad thing. People just shrug off ultras as one guy with a megaphone and everyone else being told what to do. It's a lot more than that. The ultras are like the party starters. If it goes quiet and your team are losing or behind and you need to get behind them, they start the atmosphere and everybody else would join in, which is something, again, Premier League clubs, Premier League fan bases.
I can't wait to go to one of those. I'm gonna have to get somebody to go with me. So somebody out there, go with me, because I don't want to look like a total stranger, even though I will. But maybe if I know somebody who's cool, that all the people in the ultra like, maybe that'll work.
Join in, which is something, again, Premier League clubs, Premier League fan bases, in my opinion, are missing. But I do feel like the ultras movement will never really be a thing here. It's just culturally very different. I do feel like it's an age thing as well. I feel like the younger generation who tend to watch the lower league football, priced out of Premier League games, they're open to the ultras culture. You've seen a lot more flares, tifos, displays, flags. Just look at Bradford City, for example, who've gone up from our fourth division, lower down the divisions where there's a younger active fan scene, that's where you're going to find potential ultras. In terms of Premier League, where everything's so policed and the clubs have so much influence, all these tifos that are popping up here in England,
that's why. Because the investors have a product to protect. So they don't allow any craziness that's going to turn off other investors. I think that's usually how it works, but maybe that's true. Maybe it's not, but that kind of makes sense. That's one of the things that people like about German football is that the fans are in control. So, and they can do things that probably have a little less regulation than England.
Club created, they're printed, they're watered down versions of everything you'll see in Germany. In Germany, the fan groups themselves fund the tifos, the choreos. There's a lot more heart behind them, a lot more blood, sweat and tears. Let's not only say what's better in Germany, because I want to offer balance, and if I'm forced to say in general what's better here in England compared to Germany, I would say in general the grounds, the stadiums. We have these really old school grounds, and our stadium, the Ruhrstadion, is famous for being on Kastroperstrasse, in the heart of the community, close to houses. But for me, as a Brit, it still feels quite far away from the stadium, or the houses do. They're close in German terms, but in England, you only have to go to Kenilworth Road. It's just one example of many where the houses are right on top of.
That's another word I don't know. What did he say?
To Kenilworth Road is just one.
To Kenilworth Road. I don't know what that means.
An example of many where the houses are right on top of the stadium. And there is a real feeling of community, especially when you go up to the north of England. If you check out Turf Moor, the home of Burnley, again, loads of terrace housing around Turf Moor. And in general, I do feel like our grounds, our stadiums are better, for me, that's my taste, than in Germany. If you love big out-of-town stadiums, you've of course got the Volksparkstadion in Hamburg, you've got the Allianz Arena in München, Schalke's ground's quite nice, the Valtins Arena. But if you love the gritty, old school ground, I think you'll find more of those here in Britain. But yes, 1-0.
That's interesting. So does that mean that once upon a time, maybe they had ultras? Or, because it sounds like it's really integrated in the community. Sounds like what I hear him saying. Is that right? That it used to be a little crazy in a good way, like it is in Germany? Or has it always been that they have these stricter regulations?
Ground, I think you'll find more of those here in Britain. But yes, 1-0, I think, to our stadiums. Again, I've made the offer to some fellow football fans. If you want to come over during the winter break in December, you Germans, when you have a winter break, we don't in England. It's very much full-on football around Christmas time. If you want to come to England and experience some English football with me, drop us a comment below, DM on Instagram, and we'll get a nice little group sorted. So
you better watch it, Ryan. I might be coming over. But so he's saying that there's no wait. So it's a winter break? Is that right? In Germany? And there's no winter break in the UK. And then this is random, sorry. But I always wondered, is there an all-star game, like an all-star break? I never hear anybody talk about that. But all the sports in the United States have all-star games. Some of them are, they're kind of all irrelevant now, but they have all-star games.
Drop us a comment below, DM on Instagram, and we'll get a nice little group sorted so you can experience some English football culture, because believe it or not, below the top two divisions, the atmosphere is a lot better than you might think. We don't have the ultras culture here in England. A lot of people have tried to introduce it, or a lot of clubs, fans. You might have seen the Holmesdale fanatics at Crystal Palace. They're trying to get the ultras movement going, but people just take the piss. Arsenal, They tried to create a tifo. That tifo that Arsenal had in the Champions League come under so much criticism. But I'm not one to defend Arsenal all the time, but I will this time. That banner was as a result of the club. The fans wanted something so much more creative. So that goes on to our next point. Fans have so much more freedom in Germany than they do in England. Everything is so policed. But again, it's a double-edged sword because fans have more freedom because of the ultras and the fans sticking up to what they, or standing by what they believe. The ultras, we just kind of brushed them off as a guy with a megaphone, choreographed chants and stuff. But if they're unhappy with something introduced to the German game, they'll protest. You might have heard about the times they were throwing, was it tennis balls onto the pitch? They will fight for what they believe in and stand by tradition, whereas in England, we'll just let our traditions go. One of the most popular benefits to watching football in Germany, especially top flight football, is you can still stand on the terraces with a beer watching football. Now, obviously, we had a reputation, the hooliganism and stuff in England, but of course the terracing, the fences, that all went because of Hillsborough disaster made a lot of these changes here in England. You might have...
Wait, so is he saying, okay, so he's saying that the thing he liked about Germany is you can stand on the terraces and you can have beer. Does that mean you can't have that in England? Is that what he's saying?
Because a Hillsborough disaster made a lot of these changes here in England. You might have seen me recently at Poison Munster. I'm getting better with my pronunciations, at the Poison Stadion. Very, very old school, a real throwback to 80s football here in England with the cages. So again, if you are missing that slice of nostalgia, I guess, or the old school feeling we had here in England, that's still around in a lot of the grounds in Germany. Now, with the exception of maybe Bayern, Leverkusen, Dortmund, I don't know about this season. Obviously, the standard of football on the pitch is generally better in the Premier League. We can't completely dismiss the Bundesliga. Take last season when Dortmund, who I believe finished 5th last season, could finish 4th this season, got to the Champions League final and English teams got knocked out. So we can't dismiss German football. A lot of Brits will call it a farmers league and be quite derogatory. But in general, I think even Germans would agree that the Premier League has a better standard of play. So it does depend on what you want from football. If you, again, we've spoke about this before, if you're a TV fan and you just want to see really good quality play, even though in my opinion...
Whoa, cheerleaders? Oh, shoot. I think... oh, no. They have it in basketball and American football. They have cheerleaders.
Standard of play. So it does depend on what you want from football. If you, again, we've spoke about this before, if you're a TV fan and you just want to see really good quality play, even though in my opinion the Premier League has gone downhill because teams are just passing it around to the defenders, back to the goalkeeper. Football has got a lot more boring and less creative than it was when we were younger, but that's just me talking as an old guy. I do like the imperfections of the Bundesliga. The fact that a mistake is only a few seconds away, it adds to the excitement. Perfect football isn't always the most entertaining football. So although I do agree that the standard is better in the Premier League, does that make it more entertaining? I don't know. Bayern have won another Bundesliga. Will they continue to win another 10 and go on an 11-year domination like they did before? Again, that kills the entertainment. Also, little things though, like smoking. You're not allowed to smoke inside stadiums in England. You're allowed to smoke in Germany. Of course, we mentioned a beer. You can drink a beer. You can drink a beer, believe it or not, below the 4th division in England. So a lot of people do like non-league football, 5th division and lower, because they can drink a beer and watch football. There is one misconception.
So you can't drink a beer. Man, I can't even think of an American sport where that is the case, where you can't have a beer. I mean, they have like tailgating where they're out getting hammered before the game even starts in a lot of cases. And then they just go in and buy more beer. I know in some places I don't know the exact like cutoff, but I do know they have a cutoff in certain leagues, maybe. I'm not sure. Like, let's just say like the seventh inning of baseball. That may not be true. I don't know, but I think there is a cutoff at a certain time. What am I talking about? It's neither here nor there.
Below the fourth division in England, so a lot of people do like non-league football, fifth division and lower, because they can drink a beer and watch football. There is one misconception, and that's that German fans are allowed to take pyro or flares into the stadiums and they're allowed to let them off. The rules are actually pretty much the same here in England than they are in Germany. Every time fans set off pyrotechnics, it costs the club in fines. I have noticed this season in Bochum that the ultras seem to be letting off less flares, so I'm not sure whether the club have spoken to those fan groups and said, look guys, we're losing a lot of money in fines. So that is a misconception. Obviously the biggest one is the 50+1 rule, the fact that all German clubs have to be owned by the fans, and that's why RB Leipzig and Hoffenheim and so on have got around it. There are exceptions to the 50+1 rule, but in general, fans will always have the final say when it comes to decisions. In terms of food, we've spoken about beer, but in terms of variety, food and drink, I do feel like here in England, especially again in the top divisions, we tend to have more variety when it comes to food and drink. We have more choice of different beers, but again, I do feel like the quality in Germany is better beer, and the food tastes better. Our food maybe isn't quite to the standard of over there. We have pies that are often a little bit dodgy, but we do have more variety. So that's one thing my parents noticed when they come over, that it was pretty much just a bratwurst and a beer. You might be lucky to get some pommes, some chips, or some other kind of drink, but these little refreshment places they have around the stadium, it's quite limited in what they do in Germany, but it does taste better. So maybe 1-1 on the food. So we know that there's 18 Bundesliga clubs and 18 Zweite Bundesliga clubs, 36 clubs in Germany's top two divisions. In England, you've got 20 Premier League clubs and 24 Championship clubs, our second division. So obviously 44 in our top two divisions. So an extra 8 clubs. Now, a lot of Germans will say, and I agree with this as well, that how well supported these second and third division clubs are. But as a reminder, Germany is a bigger country, more populated, and there are actually fewer professional football clubs than here in England. So the fan bases are more spread out in England. So I love to see these massive fan bases in the second division. We'll see them next season with Bochum against Schalke, no longer against Hamburg. They've been promoted. FC Köln have gone back up. But it's great to see. But I do need to add context that our clubs are really well supported as well. Again, especially if you go lower down the divisions. In Germany's top two divisions, or actually lower than that, in Germany's top 3/4 divisions, you've got the relegation promotion playoff. Now, we did have this for a short period of time in England. Obviously, I'm talking about third from bottom, playing third from top in the league below.
Third from bottom, playing third from top. Okay. It's like a little playoff or tournament or something between those 6 teams to see. Oh, wow.
Obviously, I'm talking about third from bottom, playing third from top in the league below. For example, third from bottom in the Bundesliga will play third from top in the second Bundesliga. A lot of Germans don't like this because it always seems to be the Bundesliga team which comes out on top. They've got more money, better squad depth, and yes, generally it's the Bundesliga club which will win that playoff game. In England, of course, you've got the most lucrative playoff tournament there is, I think, in world football. The Championship playoffs, third will play 6th, fourth will play 5th, and then in the final, the 2 winners of those semi-finals will meet, and the winner will be promoted to the Premier League. The most lucrative, the most money a club will make, especially here in Britain. I think a lot of Germans would prefer this. If we take the Zweite Bundesliga this season, there's so many clubs fighting for that playoff spot. Magdeburg, Düsseldorf, Augsburg, Nuremberg, Kaiserslautern, the list goes on. We speak about how close Germany's second division is. So how exciting would it be if they had a similar playoff format as we do here in England? Another thing which shocked me when I first started coming over to Germany was how political German football is, how many political statements the ultras make. You see banners everywhere. It's not just St. Pauli from the far left, and then like Hansa Rostock and more of the East German clubs on the right. A lot of clubs are at it. A lot of the clubs are involved in politics. And naturally, my opinion, going to Germany about a year ago, I've always been very much keep politics away from football. For me, football's an escape. For 90 minutes, we can have different political opinions, we can think differently, but for those 90 minutes, we're all the same. We're stood on the terraces with people from all walks of life. But again, those 90 minutes are different. It's an escape. But now I understand the role politics does play in German football. A lot of these clubs' identities are formed through political allegiances. Now, my political stance hasn't changed. I don't personally like politics in football, but how I'd say, I would explain it is, it's like ordering a pizza and having no cheese on the pizza. You can't go to Germany and say, I don't want to hear any political statements, because politics are naturally tied to football in Germany. That's just the way it is. Without the political,
I thought it was tied to football everywhere. So sounds like he's saying, is it just a German thing in Germany?
Are naturally tied to football in Germany. That's just the way it is. Without the political activeness, we probably wouldn't have the strong fan scene we have in Germany, and the atmosphere would suffer as a result. In England, though, I can't think of any clubs. If there is clubs with political ties, it can't be that big a thing here in England, because I don't know about it. Whereas in Germany, Werder Bremen, very left-wing generally, have a friendship with St. Pauli. As I said, a lot of the East German clubs are on the right, Dynamo Dresden and so on. And then you've got Alemannia Aachen, who are very much on the west side of Germany, who are right-wing. There is political attachments to those fan bases. Don't get me wrong, I know Hansa fans who are...
That's interesting. I mean, I've said this before, but that just takes it to a completely different level, that you have politics involved. Because, I mean, I know people who go crazy over some politics. I can go crazy over some politics too. So, man, that's crazy.
Political attachments to those fan bases. Don't get me wrong, I know Hansa fans who are politically left. And for me, personally, I'm right down the middle. I don't like politics in football, but I do respect the role it plays in German football. We can disagree with things politically in terms of football, clubs we like and dislike, but we can all get along, share a beer, and enjoy the beautiful game in Germany, Deutschen Fußball. So, ladies and gents, I think we should end it there. Thanks very much. Make sure you do check out Surfshark. Use the code Football Paradise for an extra 4 months free. And, unfortunately, it is Auf Wiedersehen for the 24-25 season. Let us know what's been your favourite moments of the season.
Auf Wiedersehen. All right. Well, that was cool. That was cool. I heard a few things there. I almost said I learned a few things, but I think I'm going to hear what you have to say to just validate a few of the questions that I have. I did learn some things, but I'm sure I can learn a lot more in some of the comments that are going to be coming from you. So I definitely appreciate that. This is a great video, Mr. Rye. So again, I'll include the link in the description so you can go and show him some love. And before we get out of here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.